Okay, it says it's recording.
Yep, I see the
And now we have
notice.
to be careful what we say, right?
That's great. Yeah, so Phil, I figured maybe you could just kick us off and turn it over to Andrew for some opening remarks and kind of work through your agenda here. But really, really good to see everybody.
Well, thank you all for coming to the meeting here. I know it was hard to get everybody together at the same time, so I guess we got to thank Amy for that. We have not had the insurance department attend one of these meetings before, so this is a new one experience for us too. And the way I've set up the meeting, as I said in my cover memo, is that I think we probably should let the commissioner have the priority on this thing so that you can cover the things you want to talk to before we go back to our regular board meeting. If that's agreeable with you.
Absolutely. And I know I want to make sure that you're the one. I mean, it's in the agenda, so it shouldn't be news to anyone. But if you want to start by just sharing your news, and then I can jump in.
Well, I've been fighting my wife for several years here now about not getting out of here, but she's finally convinced me that it's probably time for me to set back and do something else. So I agreed that I was going to end my career here with the Fair Plan at the end of the year, and then I realized how much stuff I hadn't already finished and had gotten around to. So I've said now that I'll stay through the end of January, but I've also told the commissioner and TK that, and I've also told Andy that I'll be happy to stay on as long as I need to until we find the suitable replacement, and that we make the transition be a smooth handoff. So.
Well, perfect. Thanks, Phil. And we'll do some introductions. I'm Andrew Stolpe. I'm the Oregon Insurance Commissioner and the Director of our Department of Consumer and Business Services. It's a pretty big state agency. It's got insurance and banking, securities, building codes, workers' comp, and OSHA. So a lot of stuff keeps me busy. I've been insurance commissioner now. It'll be in February. It'll be 5 years, which is quite a long time. And I think a real testament to Phil and the work that you all do, that this is the first time that I've been to one of your meetings. So that's really, again, thanks to Phil and everything he's done and his many years of service to the Fair Plan. So there'll definitely be time to thank him more and to celebrate his service to the state. I want to do a little bit of that now. Again, just thanking him. Thank you, Phil, for everything you've done and the good work that you've done for the plan and for the state. You have a definitely unique skill set that will be extremely hard to replace. And you've done a great job troubleshooting and solving problems and keeping everything going at the Fair Plan, wearing many, many hats over the many years you've been there. So a real credit to the plan, to the board for having you. That the plan has operated so smoothly for so many years. You'll be very sorely missed, and I'm glad we get to hang on to you for a while longer until we can find an acceptable replacement. But it'll be hard to find the next you, definitely.
Thank you for those kind words.
Absolutely. Well, I've got some of the team here with me today, and we'll kind of go around and I'll let everyone introduce themselves. And we've got a couple things we wanted to talk to you about in our time with you. And start just by really noting and emphasizing the importance of the Fair Plan to us, and just want to make sure you hear that from us, right? There's what the Fair Plan is and what it provides to homeowners, property owners, is just such an important, essential thing, especially with ongoing wildfire issues that we've been dealing with across the state. As those keep probably getting worse, the FAIR Plan will become an even more important resource for property owners as that wildfire threat grows and as we continue to see the standard market reacting to that risk, appropriately reacting to that risk. So we said a few things to talk about. We want to talk a little bit with you about the executive director position and Phil's replacement. We'll come back to that in a minute. We see that as really critical to the success of the FAIR Plan and the policy goals of the state, and really making sure that the plan's not only a good, robust option, but it continues to operate as well as it has. We're really looking forward to being a part of that search and selection process, and hopefully hopefully we're going to have a robust set of candidates who are interested, and it will be a really difficult choice for us. It's always the best thing to hope for. So other than that, and I said we'll come back to that in a minute. We've also been asked by the governor's office and legislators to come up with some policy options in response to the wildfire issues, but to help maintain robust insurance options, especially those that take account of the mitigation work. So home hardening, defensible space, community mitigation activities that a lot of folks are doing in response to increased wildfire risk. So we do have a legislative concept that we'll talk about and share with you, and we'd love to hear your feedback. And kind of parallel with that legislative concept, we've also been discussing with Phil some expanded coverage options for the FAIR Plan. We know there's not one single silver bullet, one single fix to this, this being the wildfire risk situation, but we feel excuse me, that we could take a couple different approaches together, including working on the FAIR Plan that could help to address the situation as a whole. So we'll kind of talk about all those things in a lot more detail, and really want to hear from you and what you think, and maybe even get some decisions from you on some of those points today. So with that, I'll turn it over to the team to introduce themselves. Start with TK Keene.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. TK Keene. I'm administrator with the Division of Financial Regulation and Andrew's chief deputy, and I'll hand it over to Brian.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brian Fordham, and I am the PNC and Business Analytics Program Manager here with DFR, and I'm going to hand it over to Raven.
All right, thanks, Brian. Hi, everyone. I'm Raven Collins, and I'm a senior policy advisor with the division. And I've been working on the legislative concept, so I'll discuss that in a little bit. But I'll pass it over to Ying.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Ying Liu, and I'm a property casualty actuary in the division, and we do rule reviews, including the homeowners. Yeah. So I will pass it to Dave.
Hi, I'm David Dahl. I'm a property casualty actuary with the division, and I've been on the calls for the FAIR Plan over the years.
Over 20 years.
Not quite.
Well, close to it.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Eric, do you want to go next?
Yeah.
Sure, I'll jump in. I'm Eric Cutler. I'm the licensing and retaliatory tax manager for DFR. And you're wondering what that has to do with the Oregon FAIR Plan. I'm a long recovering insurance, property, and casualty nerd that serves the division and the commissioner on all these types of matters. So,
And a former board member.
And a former board member, and I worked for, full disclosure, worked many years with Fritz, and so I taught him a lot of bad habits. So, Phil, you're gonna have to unwind all that.
Fritz, you aren't gonna let him say that about you, are you?
If that's the worst he says, I'm doing okay.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's the whole team. I mean, if you guys wouldn't mind, I mean, this is our first meeting. Before we dive into the two topics, would love to have you all introduce yourselves so we know you as well.
I'll go first. I'm Andy Davies. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm the current chairman of the board of the Fair Plan. I'm the CFO at Oregon Mutual Insurance, and like two others on this call, also a property casualty actuary.
Fritz Shalanda, as Mr. Cutler already pointed out, I am also a property and casualty guy. I currently serve as the Vice President of Underwriting Operations for Sublimity Insurance and United Heritage Property and Casualty, and I joined the board about a year ago. I think this is my third board meeting, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is Troy Usselman. I'm a State Farm Proximity Fire Team Manager. I have Western, Central, and Southern Oregon in my territories. It's really, Andrew, it's really nice to meet you and your team. Got a great team. Been on the board about, I think, Phil, about 4 years or so.
Yeah.
Happy to be here. Yeah.
Thank you, Troy. John Hedgard, I think, is on the call. I'm not sure if he can talk or not.
I can certainly go next. Thanks. John Hedegaard. I work for Allstate in government relations. Relatively new to this FAIR plan, but certainly not new to FAIR plans in general.
That probably is all of us, is it? I think.
All right.
All right.
Well, oh, was that someone else? Nope. Okay. Well, thank you for that. It's really great to meet all you virtually and, have this discussion today. And so let's dive in. A couple main things we want to talk about. We can start with Phil's retirement. As he mentioned, he's got a retirement date the end of next January, and really grateful for potential flexibility with that date. And again, we'll really miss you and really hard to replace you. But for your replacement, we did work with Phil and took a first run at a job description. And I'm pretty sure that was circulated for the meeting.
Yes, it was.
Yes. Okay, so perfect. So you all have that. So as I said, that's our first run at a position description. It's been a long time since we've had to fill that at the FAIR plan. So, we took our best crack at, what is involved in the position based on, what we know, what we see. So would love if anyone has any feedback on that. We don't have to finalize that today. But it would be great in the next few days if we can get feedback and get that finalized so we can get that position out and have a nice robust recruitment for that. So with that, I'll see Phil if you want to add anything about the job description, and we can see if anyone has any comments or feedback on it.
Well, I took a couple of different FAIR plan managers' jobs, and I kind of cut and pasted to make it be appropriate to the size and kind of a FAIR plan that we run here. So I made it what I thought was a pretty good description of what we do and how we do it. TK has added a couple little editorials about it that I haven't actually incorporated into my copy, and I'll republish that. And I got a copy of his version of it, which I sent out to all of you. And I'll send out a more readable copy that I can maybe fill out the spots that he's made any changes on. One of the things he asked about was the need for publishing a salary range, and I guess maybe that would be something that we would want to discuss at least.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. We've got an idea about that. Let me see if anyone has any questions or comments on the job description first. Like I said, we want to get to this quickly, but we can give a couple days for any written comments for anyone. But anyone have any questions or comments on the job description? And then we've got a proposal for the salary range. Okay, great. Well, as for the salary range, our proposal would that, and this will be your decision, but something within the $120,000 to $180,000 range, and that's based on comparable executive salary ranges in the state system and private sector for jobs with similar duties, background, experience, and kind of the scope of the plan. I think that would, give a competitive pool of candidates and be appropriate for the position. But as I said, would be your decision.
Andrew, I might want to reconsider my application for retirement if you're going to pay me that much money. I mean, hell.
Well, you have to work
I can
60
go home and
hours a
fight
week.
with my wife if I have to.
Yeah, it's a lot more job hours, that we'd have to say, but yes.
Well, I think the board has to kind of chew that over, I think, and I'm not sure we're going to make a decision today. Andy Davis, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Probably.
Phil and I talked a little bit about this before, and I think it might make sense, for us, maybe for the board to talk, separate outside of this, just to get individual feedback. I mean, I can say on the upper end of that range, I'm worried about how many of my own employees or employees at Oregon Mutual would definitely jump at that. So, but not to say that that's the deciding criteria. But yeah, I think we need a little time to discuss that. But thanks for the guidance on that, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And it would just be a range. Of course, someone's final salary would be based on a whole bunch of criteria. Okay. Yeah. Great. Well, the next thing, retirement, health, and dental benefits. We understand that other FAIR plans allow for retiree health and dental benefits. So we think that would be in order for the position. In order for the position to be competitive, would be something to offer. Of course, retiree benefits is a big word, could mean a lot of different things that would have to be figured out, including health and dental and what that would mean. I don't know if we've explored whether PERS would even be an option. I don't know if there's a way to kind of opt into that system, considering how the FAIR plan is established, et cetera. We'd be happy to do that, but just encourage you to think about including those benefits for the position as well. Phil, and if you have anything to add on that.
Well, I think I found out from talking to the president of PIPSO, which is the organization that all the FAIR plans belong to, that this FAIR plan is the only FAIR plan that doesn't have that provision already built into the benefit package. So that's why I brought it up, and I probably have waited a long time before I should have brought it up a long time ago, but I didn't think it was very much importance until recently. So the health part of that thing is really talking about senior advantage, which is a supplement to the Medicare. And right now, looking at our costs here, we pay about $300 or $330 a month for for the employees that are of that age, of which there are two of us. And I was telling Andy here earlier before that we had this call that our short-term and long-term disability with guys my age still working here. I mean, that's a significant amount of money that we are already paying that we would probably get rid of when I leave. I'm sure the salary or the cost for those two items alone, the short term and the long term, is over $1,000 a month. So, I mean, as you get closer to the end of the road, your premiums keep going up on those kind of things. So there'll be a savings there as a trade-off to the couple $300. And I think that the dental's probably about it's less than $50 a month. So this isn't a long-term obligation that would be a real expense to the FAIR plan, I don't think.
Yeah. So Phil, yeah, when you were saying you're talking about retiring medical, what information, if any, do you have about other FAIR plans being part of the government, like the equivalent of PERS. Did you get any information on that?
I have not, but
Okay.
I can go back and research this more thoroughly with my PIPSO guy and have him send us some actual numbers with some, you know, as to how much there actually is being paid and how they're doing it.
That'd be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on the position description, salary, benefits, anything? You know, as far as a process, you know, we'd hope to see the job description out, you know, as soon as it can, have a robust recruitment process, which we can definitely help with as needed, and then as quick of an interview and decision process as possible, and look forward to working with you on that.
And Andrew, I think you told me that you would want me to be the recipient of these apps and then share them with you.
Yeah, I think that could be a great process, right? So,
Or
you know,
you and
folks
you and
applying-
and even get TK involved. I mean, we
Yeah.
would do a lot of the paperwork before
Yeah.
you and I had to make a final decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and the board, I think the ultimate decision is the board in consultation with me.
It is true.
In the bylaws. So yeah, but we'll leave it to Andy and the board to decide. I'm sure they're going to want your input in that as well, I'd imagine. But you know, but yeah, we can figure out what we've got a full HR team that does lots and lots of recruitments, and we can help come up with a process map and a schedule, and have folks help out, you know, with anything that's needed whatsoever. You know, figuring out how many rounds of interviews. I mean, we even have a virtual interview tool that we'd be happy to use for this if you'd like. That's for background. That's for our process. You know, in order to have as many people in that first round of interviews as possible, and I don't know how many candidates we'll get, but you know, if we get 30, 40, 50, 60 candidates for senior level jobs, you know, we'll probably usually pick, you know, 12, 14, 15 of them to go to an actual first round interview. And that would be a lot of people sitting around for a lot of time. So we've got this virtual video recruiting system where we send a link, and there's you develop the questions, and it's video asks those questions, and someone gets recorded answering them, and then whoever's on the review panel just gets to watch 12, 14, 15 videos, and then pick the people who go to the second round, whether that's the final round or not. So
that sounds like an excellent process.
Yeah. But happy to work with you and the board, however we can be helpful on that.
I'll take you up on that one for sure.
Absolutely.
You know, yeah, I think the job description looks really good. If I were to recommend a potential ad, by the way, this is Troy at State Farm. It might be at a bullet point the responsibility to an ongoing assessment of the needs of the residents of Oregon relative to the FAIR Plan. Like, what could that change over time? We need to stay ahead of that. And I'm looking through there. There's some of the bullet points touch to that of some, but we may have a separate bullet point just to that specific issue. That's other than that, I thought that was a really good outline.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Troy.
Thank you.
Okay, well, if there's nothing else on the recruitment, I'm going to turn it over to Raven to talk about our legislative concept and the discussions you've been having with Phil around the FAIR Plan.
Okay, great. Thank you, Andrew. So it's great to be here today. As you know, we've been working on a wildfire legislative concept with many stakeholders, so industry partners and consumer representatives. So first, I'll go ahead and describe the other parts of the concept generally, and then I'll focus in on the FAIR Plan components. So one section of the legislative concept is improving consumer disclosure requirements. So you might be aware of a communication issue that occurred a few months ago regarding the state wildfire risk map, where policyholders were receiving non-renewal notices because of a perceived wildfire risk on their property. So insurers, are using their own third-party risk modeling and have been for years. So our proposal includes having more information in the content of policy renewals, cancellations, and the like about the source of data that the insurer is using, specific facts around adverse decisions as defined in statute, which includes charging a higher rate, and other information about a premium reduction or a lack thereof for property level mitigation efforts. And also just providing some additional information about wildfire scoring and what measures can be taken to improve or lower the score. So there are some nuances to work through. There is a balance to strike between giving full transparency to consumers versus, insurers being limited in what they can actually provide. If their information involves restrictive licensing agreements or intellectual property and things like that. Another section of the LC has to do with mandatory rating and underwriting factors. So we want to see rating plans that take into account defensible space and home hardening, as Andrew mentioned earlier. Again, there are some nuances around policyholders' actions and inactions and how those affect their neighbors and the community as a whole. So we are going to meet with a risk strategist in the near future who's going to present to us the best ways to measure wildfire mitigation, how to quantify it for a particular neighborhood and within a sufficient level of granularity in order to be helpful to homeowners and business owners and first responders. And then the last section I'll mention before moving to the FAIR Plan changes is rebuild timelines after wildfires. So over the past couple of years, we've seen policyholders through no fault of their own dealing with supply chain issues and delays in construction that go well beyond the time in the contract itself. So if an insured is acting in good faith and with reasonable diligence, but still encounters these delays in the process, then, rebuild timelines should be able to be extended in reasonable increments. So with those few sections, we're having stakeholder feedback due next week. And with that input, we'll better be able to determine what information consumers need to make good decisions about mitigating risks, and also what insurers are able to do to incentivize this without too large of a cost or an administrative burden. So all of that being said, we have met with Phil a couple of times recently and, are in the process of collaborating with you about offering insureds additional coverage options. So we want to increase the limits for both dwelling and contents combined and for commercial property coverage. So we're looking at bumping those up to about $600,000 and $1 million respectively. In order to get to those numbers, we surveyed some admitted carriers and, asked for their median and 25th percentile and 75th percentile of coverage A, coverage C, and the combination. And basically the numbers that industry provided supported an increase in coverage limits and indicated that the FAIR Plan hasn't quite kept up with rising housing costs, which is definitely the case in other states as well, as they're looking at increasing limits too. But the FAIR Plan limits are not defined in statute, so this would be a change to the plan of operation, I believe. So that's subject to board approval and would require DCBS approval also. Under ORS 735.085. And then the corresponding rating plan and policy language changes I think would also be filed under ORS 735095. The last piece of it, besides increasing those two coverage limits, is giving fair plan insureds the option to purchase the replacement cost value of the home. So ideally, we were talking about having coverage available for up to 110% of the total replacement cost, because you can't really rebuild a home with actual cash value. So this option would really give policyholders a chance to purchase coverage, extra coverage that would allow them to potentially rebuild if need be. So I'll just kind of stop there and see what your thoughts are, what your comments are.
So you're talking about taking the limits out of the plan of operation and added them to the actual statute, or are you having them both, or where? What are you thinking about?
No, I think just the plan of operation, just changing them within that, just kind of keeping keeping the system as it is, but just increasing the limits.
Yeah, because I mean, the insurance commissioner already has the final approval of the plan of operation anyway, so I mean, you can see that'll take care of that. I don't think you have to put it in the statute.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't think we want the legislature then having control over what those numbers are. It's better for the
Amen.
board to.
Amen.
We're with you, yeah.
So
I was talking to a reinsurer yesterday. Raven didn't mention the fact that one of my assignments was try to see if I could go out and find a treaty type of a reinsurance set up for the FAIR plan, as opposed to what I'm currently doing, which is to do facultative reinsurance or excess of loss, where I actually make a deal on each policy. This reinsurer was telling me that there are some insurance companies that are using $500 a square foot as the replacement cost coverage for today. You know, when you consider, well, that sounds a little silly, but it also sounds very realistic. I mean, anybody who's gone up to Home Depot and tried to buy a 2x4 will know the prices have gone up substantially. I mean, they really have, and even including the labor and the availability of labor. So, no, that's not out of the question. The one thing I've already told the department, and I'll say it again, is that with the specified peril policy that we currently have, we're a little bit more nimble, and we can accommodate an insured more easily. If we have to start underwriting for replacement costs, and we then have to worry about some coverages that we don't normally have to worry about, that'll probably make the job of underwriting more important and maybe elongate the process of actually making a decision. Also, of course, as TK and I were talking about yesterday, what is the premium, but A times B, the rate times the exposure. So many, in fact, I think the majority of our insureds currently are coming to us. They're people that don't have a lot of resources. A lot of them are elderly, a lot of them are on a fixed income and don't have a lot of money. And I can just imagine making an option available to say, okay, you want to have ACV or you want to have replacement costs. When they see the difference in the pricing, I'm not so sure we're going to sell a lot of replacement costs, but at least we'll have the option. I mean, I understand the need for at least making the option, but I'm not so sure you're going to get a lot of sales on that when you consider the pricing is going to have to be substantial. To another topic corollary to this, I was supposed to, and I started with David back 6 months ago, trying to get a rate increase for because we haven't had a rate increase in 20 plus years. I kind of refrained from using the ISO rating for property insurance, because every time that I saw a rate increase or a rate change, I should say, in Oregon over the last 50 years that I've been here, typically the rates in the Northwest were going down. So when I came and took this job over, I basically pointed out to the board at that time that you know, with the kind of stuff that we're gonna get, the tail of the dog or the creme de la crap, as they say, you know, we aren't wanting to be on the low end of the pricing scale. We want to be on the higher end, if anything. So, I'm still, David, I haven't forgotten the fact that you've asked me some more questions, and I'm gonna finish up that. I'll finish it up maybe this week yet before I get out of here, so. I'm intending to ask for like a 10 or 15% increase in our rates. And, I think it'll be apropos, especially now with the additional focus on this, the kind of stuff we're getting in here as new applications. It's all unprotected property, you know, a majority of it is PC 8, 9, 10 out in the woods, you know, they're being non-renewed because of the wildfire, rating or the wildfire consideration that the underwriting companies are using.
Yeah, I would add, I think, Phil, you summarized most of the things I would say. You know, I think just about the fair plan stuff, because you threw a lot of interesting stuff out there, but just which maybe my question on the legislative type proposals are those things that you would have asked maybe somebody from our companies separately for feedback on? Okay, so we won't talk about that one here. But as far as the fair plan, I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, certainly the you know, the sophistication of wildfire modeling has only, you know, increased over the last few years. And so I could certainly see availability becoming a bigger issue. But I would reiterate what Phil said about just making sure that we are able to charge a adequate price, especially for the replacement cost piece. Otherwise, you're going to end up with probably a big, well, you're going to end up with a big demand surge, probably, you know, that may overwhelm the fair plan, or at least we'd have to significantly expand it. And then also, you know, at some point, you end up with, you know, the fair plan running losses. And so I think that, yeah, my comment would just be making sure that whatever we're doing, that we are, you know, taking adequate pricing into consideration. Does anybody else from the board have any comments?
Yeah, I guess I just would tag on with the replacement cost, you know, that because that coverage, you know, typically is tied to inflation, you know, typically would have coverage limits that are going to be adjusted at each annual renewal. And so some provision for that would probably be something to think through also.
Definitely, yeah. And an inflation guard endorsement, at least, you know.
Right.
Well, thank you very much for that feedback. That's helpful. I think I'll turn it back over to Andrew, if you have anything to add. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Raven.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing more to add. Those are the two main items we wanted to go over, and really grateful for the feedback you provided. Look forward to understand you want to chat about the job description and salary and benefits and everything. You know, look forward to your comments after your feedback after you've had that discussion. Really are hoping, you know, within a week or so, we could get that job posted, you know, and, you know, we typically do 30-day recruitments. You know, we're going to have the holidays coming up, so we have to take all that into account and everything. So it's, you know, it's a challenging recruiting time. You know, if you do any hiring, you know how hard it is to find people, period, right now. So especially highly qualified folks are hard to find. And then look forward to, yeah, well, I'd say my takeaway, I heard positive reaction from the board to our ideas around changing to the FAIR plan. So I know that's something you're going to want to talk about more, and, you know, have to get into the details and figure out, and then work into the plan of operation. So look forward to working with you more on that as well. And, hopefully, early next year, that's something that, we could run to conclusion. That's it. TK, anything else from you?
Nope, you hit everything I was hoping we would hit and that Phil and I talked about. So really appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for the time today.
Great. Yeah, I really do appreciate the time today very much. And like I said, look forward to following up again soon and then getting out of your way and coming back in 5 more years for something else. But no, I actually would be glad to come back on some regular schedule as well and just hear, join the board, once a year at least, and talk about things that are going on, top of mind for us, and hear the same from you all. Would be, I think, a good practice to have. So look forward to doing something like that starting next year.
Well, thank you all for taking the time to come and set up this meeting together. And I appreciate it. I'm sure my board does too. So thank you
All right.
again for coming, and we'll let you guys,
Yep.
I don't know, do we have to, since TK, you're the one that's in charge of this, from a video standpoint, do we have to reconvene afterwards on a phone call, or how do we do this?
Yeah, that's a good question. So if I depart, I don't know if you have the functionality. Do you all see the ability to record on your end? If I leave, can this keep going?
I don't think that once you leave, it'll probably end right then.
Okay.
Hey guys, here's a thought, if it goes away when they hang up, could I just send out a Zoom link? Would that work for the rest of the board?
That would work fine.
Would that work for you, Phil?
Yes,
Let's plan on
sure.
that. Let's plan on that. I'll send that out to the board momentarily here.
Sounds
Okay.
great.
Okay.
All right.
Works.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you all.
Meet you. Yep.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
be I'll call the. Well, sent out the normal things that I tried to put together. One of the things I wanted to have a copy of, hey, Bill, sorry to interrupt. Before you keep going. Antitrust. Okay, yeah. Get verbal account. Antitrust. Die. So we sent out minutes last Saturday. Anybody have any corrections, comments? As I said at the other, I intend working with all get our position down there. Great. I haven't done. I don't know if I told you. Had a terrible for our QuickBooks style. Looked at the top probably. At our that and when we sent out our commission on a quarterly basis, now under time for does of that particular send them out electronic over the internet from our software and on down in Arizona folks. Actually, the paper agent well 300 in our I have done like 25 times. Well, I was buying time, which I thought was ridiculous, right? Had about 75 or something. So I sent them out. First, they jumped up the system and put the process and sends back confirmation. Print out tells us one that they got transmission. Three tell us check number. So I put it that back to a bank. So I finally had my car, but three, and I had to send the data file. Electronic data, here's the have it fixed. Yeah. And of course, while I was on our bank, our software, the 3 weeks of it. Finally, problem got down there for sure. I was very happy. My son following update when I went to my favorite bank. Well, so all 20 on. I had to sit down and after the first time, that's kind of screen start point. Kind of that guy on all right. I want to that point. So I term is quite large and quite low. So I've had them doing here last for everything, that's everything for time. I've just decided to cut losing. But really helped me up. It cost a lot of time. I'm trying to alibi here. I have an answer or have query here because I didn't have any into my data. That's now perfect. Actually, step so minutes. How about the on it? That's laptop that I can show them much through that wildfire. That's the reason never reached. But what we have to do is but the final top cut. Questions about that? We haven't gone through it by now. I will, if Bill, I will, I can take on to circle back for that and environment that we discussed. Don't have to discuss in front of you, but I will. I will try numbers that were back on. Also, like relative okay. Next financial. Yeah, but currently their surplus about $500,000 account. This the P&L is through 9 months. Intend to have January for a public and numbers. So he shows that our new business coming in greater numbers, greater premium. Something that budget here. So that sort of follows the trend with whale players of starting out the bottom barrel. Anybody have any questions about the balance? Been along the top for have their production report just remind like 3 different reports. The top section of that report order only. Middle section year to date for this year. Bottom section year to date. Last year. Our numbers are up down. Spring. That so that or keep it better fun or 25 versus that's the difference. That plus the back add up first 2 columns that becomes the premium, then that's premium. not that we kind of rated ourselves there. So it could be simple, I don't think that's here, but I don't know. Link, but I can drill down category. House, so I could export greater depth as far as correct.
I didn't have any.
Don't have anything else other than that. That's right now. The question on it. I've told sure I will stick around something that happens. Not necessarily around for people. Unintended for it. And try to on and first.
So I want to thank you for being done. Because we is around to finally first.
Well, thank you. You know what? I've been a member of Fair Plan for first guard back 5 or 3 years ago. I remember that my boss came out of going to have something for the Fair Plan. You're in. That was no volunteer topic. That was your next assignment. I'm sure probably all of you have had the same elected by not having one selected. And I appreciate that you all have other been very supportive.
Yeah, the urban slang definition of fallen. Yeah, that's what that's actually how I'm here, but now I end up being really. What is your first trip? I'm so happy for you. Been your baby. Great job. Right.
Well, it's been a fun time. When I first came here, this kind of a Campbell office, but had typewriters on every desk for on open. I have actually got a file that we have lines of all shelving and every news, everything. I have 7 or 8 people down fresh that are employees themselves. So it's been a fun time. Job. I really enjoyed it. Thank you all. I haven't got anything else to discuss unless you want to have some.
I just wanted to add a comment on this proposed. Well, I guess I'll say first that some of the other things like that, salary and outreach out. That's like that fun part. I'm curious comments on it, especially with place costs. Because certainly I think that taking airplane a lot. I guess kind of take it at the same time I'm also a little bit curious that stuff is underpriced. Money and having clawback or something. Don't have any. I would echo your
I would also say, I mean, I'm on other airplanes. A lot of problems. I on airplanes are fantastic. A lot of drawdown, but they will time frame file. So, no, it's just something for us to keep our eye on. So we don't. Well, and I also think that said on earlier that placement on premium are potentially higher just are currently by larger limits that are coming to us. They're gonna opt for value. I don't think you're wrong. I mean, I think it's, you know, for my team, our response a flash make it coverage it's incredibly don't want to get there by first. Well, and remember, I think still I'm not I think sure out of fair plan. I remember not a fun thing. Our job is to try to make their surplus adequate on that down to nothing. Yeah, I did point however many got a lot of wildfires. Like it's amazing fact that wildfires. I was shocked. Well, and we have a place right up here. I'm trying kind of inflation card. I feel like I really have to think have put on. I don't even know what about 5% or what is it? Right now, way higher. Higher, like 20. Well, never had a rating 20 years. Right? I just better pretty crap. And my 30 like 8, 7. That's fairly big. 20 for how do we so how do you stop? Every time we have it on there,
we're definitely going to keep coming back. Where I would our rates are not that's not very attractive. Yeah, like have it be a don't want to competitive for number of companies. I have a question. Does the applicant have yes. I've been thinking about modifying our application, bring it down to a very short path. Just say, just confirm not fire. Now, some people, there are risks of building this problem fixed. There's a lot of property. There's a unrepaired damage fire virus. I will make that guy got a contractor working on it. Guys working on it. Well, anybody else have anything? So Phil, we that last I'm going to be at. Oh no, I might want to join some part of the care plan. I don't think it pays quite as well. I don't know. My wife already out of here. So if I'm more of an interest. Definitely appreciate that. So yeah, more time. Thanks for all your passion. Pleasure. Anybody else has anything? And I'll start the. Yeah, I was actually. Because I was in high school right next. I was way ahead of time. At the top where not up in Canada. My parents had served from. Thank you again all for coming in time. And I'll be available for anybody. I've got email. All right, thanks again. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everyone.
Hello? Come back from that. I thought